This is no product pitch because that's boring. What I want to talk about instead is something I refer to as the dark side of open data, Government 1.5. The idea of this, and this is kind of a riff off one of these kind of memes in Silicon Valley around Government 2.0. I say it's more 1.5 in the sense of aspirationally, things are really good. From an execution perspective, what's happening in this kind of open data, open government movement, it's pretty crap. And there are a couple specific reasons why I can suggest that. I'm going to talk about, so I'm going to crap on government in terms of how it's inefficient and slow. I'm going to offer some good prescriptions and kind of try to put it in context, all in whatever it is, the 7 minutes and 20 seconds. So first I want to start off talking about mass transit. In the United States, 50% of public transit ridership happens in the New York City metropolitan area. In the United States, the urbanization rate is around 82%, which is double from 100 years ago. Worldwide, I think it's 70%, and it's going to continue to increase. Collecting transit data is something my company does a lot of for a couple interesting reasons. However, it's hard to obtain a lot of this data. Now, this is starting maybe 6 or 7 years ago. The kind of things that my company would want are basic information around where are transit stations located, what are the schedules, what are the kind of the maps look like of the trains, maps of the systems the trains follow. So organizations like Google had access to this in ways that I couldn't. Okay, so this was really curious to me. So I ended up having to sue New York City Transit and another agency in New York, and hundreds of FOIA requests, different kinds of public record requests, appeals, and repeat the appeal process all the way down the line to simply get access to the interesting kind of data. So why do I want this kind of data? So I'll show, we can go to roll the animation now. This is a 2-minute video, which I don't think I'll show all of, because that means I have 6 minutes left. But what we're looking at here is animation in San Francisco of departure from downtown San Francisco. How far can you travel? And you can see down below, 60 minutes, 62 minutes, 63 minutes, and we can see the East Bay, we can see BART going down south, just north of where it says San Mateo, have these islands. Each color gradient represents 15 minutes of travel time. Obviously in the middle of the night, this would be a lot different, different on the weekend, yeah. So this kind of information becomes useful. You can imagine doing things like plot a travel shed. How far can I travel within a given period of time, or what's the population accessible to the subway station within an 8-minute commute or something like that. Okay, we can go back to the slides. It ends up that Google Transit, which we all love and enjoy, myself included, has a couple thousand transit agencies participating. Fewer than a couple hundred are made available to anybody who wants them. So just to be clear, Google makes great products. I love them, I hate them for different reasons. But this public transit, if I want what Google has, I can't have it. Google has what's known as well, I call it, it's a privileged relationship. It's sort of the privatization of public resources. Going one step further, what if we knew really granular information about transit data? So let's say at the station level, what's the individual ridership count, and how does that change over time as opposed to a system level? Well, the FTA, a government agency in the United States, requires that this stuff is reported. However, big fail, because they only require this information is reported at the system level, right? We all know each system is comprised of dozens or hundreds of stations. It's a small rule tweak that can happen to open up all kinds of opportunities and possibilities, but it's not there. Next one is crime. The FBI has a facility in West Virginia. It's a $1 billion annual budget for this thing, and it collects what's known as the UCR, Uniform Crime Reporting Statistics. It's been happening the same way since the days of slide rules in 1920. It'll tell you that San Francisco homicides are up. It'll tell you in the northeastern states, homicides are up. In western states, violent crimes or hate crimes are down. In San Francisco, it'll tell you a homicide rate of X. Let's look at it a little more granularly from the data here. Okay, so let's take a zip code downtown and a zip code on the western part of San Francisco in Ocean Beach. And what do we think? Let's say robberies per 100,000 residents. So it's going to be 3,400 per 100,000, because we obviously have data aggregated at a municipal level, and you can't de-aggregate at any meaningful way unless you're a super demographer statistician. What this also means is every other postal code, by definition, has that same damn meaningless statistic if you want to make something approximating a granular decision. Thanks to some fearless leaders in San Francisco, current and past, they've kind of opened up and participated in this wave and taken a real leadership position in making their crime and other data available, which is great if I care about San Francisco. But what if I care about the 15,000 other cities that report to the UCR? No data for you because it's not available to us. What could you do if you, can you go back one slide? Sorry, or maybe I can do it. I can do it, done. If you had this incident level reporting data, and these are dots representing some kind of crime, I can't remember which one, there's so much you can do. You can aggregate it and slice it and dice it, look at it by unit, area, look at it by population, proximity to something else. It's fascinating, but it's not happening. FOIA, let's talk a little bit about FOIA. The first FOIA statute was in 1766, and it was, pardon? Sweden. I thought I heard that. United States got around to passing its FOIA law when? 1966. There are about 40% of the countries in the world have a FOIA statute. The United States has had several amendments subsequent. The last one was in 1996, which comes to something I'll talk about in a little bit. Brief history of government reform. The idea of open government, reinventing all of this stuff. This has happened. There's been no fewer than 11 presidential commissions in the United States over the past 150 years. So what we're hearing and what Obama did on his second executive order once he was in office is really nothing new. Data.gov, this is a government portal, which again, aspirationally, it's really exciting, but at an execution level, there's nothing here. Keep moving on, people. Before we had data.gov, we had individual government websites publishing links, and what we have through data.gov is a really nice redirect, which gives you one page and allows you to access pretty much everything you would want. Something that the Congressional Research Service did a couple years ago, issued a report saying that these open government initiatives that Barack Obama was promulgating are kind of meaningless because they have no teeth. If you don't comply, what's going to happen? Nothing. And there's also this other hidden side to the fact of if citizens get kind of inundated with lots of data, they might have more questions, which kind of slows down the functioning and the smooth operations of government, which is not bad. This is just a consequence that wasn't really considered. This is a good one. In April 2011, Barack Obama in the White House Oval Office received an award for good government, good, transparent, open government. But you didn't know about it. I didn't know about it. It wasn't on the White House schedule. They blogged about it a couple months after the fact. It was totally off the record and hushed because Obama was busy that day. You know, I don't know. I mean, put your money where your mouth is if you're really going to embrace this stuff. Okay, let's talk about some good stuff quickly because I'm really down. National Weather Service is part of NOAA, which provides a lot of oceanographic and atmospheric information in the United States. They have thousands of weather beacons. These are publicly available for all to use to take these streams of data, temperature, precipitation, etc. It was almost made available exclusively to a private company in Pennsylvania, and this is through the tutelage of former Senator Rick Santorum, who wanted to have the stuff monopolized within his district or within his state in Pennsylvania. Fortunately, it didn't happen. This is great. There are now private parties that have lots of these beacons and sensors as well, but this is a gift from the feds. Map data and demographics, there's something called TIGER, which is the way that the government kind of defines the base map, if you will. There's also a lot of demographic data that's collected and made available, updated. Now it's done every year, the program's getting gutted, but the idea of it is the government provides this base kind of spatial infrastructure for us, which very few countries offer. Maybe the way it's done isn't great, but it happens, and this is an incredible boon. It means anybody can take advantage of this free data that's out there. If you want to pay more for commercial data, you certainly can. The GPS, thank you Reagan for putting this thing into space. Thank you Bill Clinton for turning off the selective availability and making it commercially more accurate, actually on par with military uses in 1993, I think it was. Finally, a couple ideas. What could we do? Well, first is, when it comes to FOIA, what do you release? Well, the Open Government Directive said you just release 3 high-value data sets, which means absolutely nothing. So what I'd say is, let's do what people ask, right? So if you're writing in asking for certain types of data, that might indicate that that's something that's of value and interest. So go ahead and just release those. Instead of having bureaucrats who don't really care, just doing what's most efficient and can be pushed off there, they can check the box. Another prescription, FOIA.gov. When I saw this, I was so excited. I thought this is great. Mountains of FOIA requests, I can understand them. But no, it's a big fail. All it is just a stupid website that gives you the damn backlog of FOIA requests by agency. How simple, how smart would it be to actually look at these disclosure logs, proactively make those things available? 1 minute? Okay. Next one, data.gov. They talk about job creation and economic development as a result of open data. Bullshit. We don't know. Don't ride this one yet. See what develops. Stop making these causal inferences. They are not right. They're hurting people. Modernize FOIA. Mention this one. This is what we have to deal with now. This is pretty goofy. How about we take it to the internet age, huh? At the federal rulemaking level, there's a lot we can do. Small tweaks. The future, I'm not going to talk about it because it hasn't been discovered. Pardon? Thank you so much, Steffi. I appreciate it.